Hey, what's up guys? Tony here, and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Tony. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about friendship. Alright, so I was actually having kind of a hard time coming up with a topic this week because initially what I wanted to talk about was service, especially military service. And the problem that I ran into is I ran into about 6 minutes of this video and I just ran out of things to talk about because I had covered it all and then some within like the first 3 or 4 minutes. And so I didn't want to stumble around for another 8 minutes with nothing to say. So I pulled Phoenix and she said, talk about friendship. And I was like, oh, that is a really good topic. And it actually ties into what I wanted to talk about initially. So to get started, what the gameplay you're watching is obviously Crisis 3. This is the hunter mode. And Colin, you'll see him in the oh my god, what the fuck, blah. He joined the Air Force. And so last week, he actually left. It was actually Monday he left. But Friday and Saturday of that weekend prior, we decided to have a big send-off for him. So we all got together and we had a big gaming night for him. And it was nice. It was a good send-off for him, you know. And so I really appreciate the fact that he's joined the Air Force. I really have a big place in my heart for those people who join the service because I come from a family that, you know, has a pretty rich military background. And of my immediate family, I'm the only one who's never been in the service. So I appreciate all you guys out there who do join because not a lot of people do it. I think it takes a really strong, courageous, and noble person to do it. So I thank you guys, everyone who is watching this video. If you know someone in the service or you are in the service yourself, I thank you guys for your service. So let's get on to the friends thing. This is actually an interesting topic just because of the fact that it's so big, and I'm going to try to cover it in about 12 minutes. And like always, I'm going to talk about it from my side and the way I see things. So the one thing that I do notice that I didn't really believe it when I was in high school. I had this psychology teacher, and I took psychology my junior and senior year. It was just sort of like a fun last period of the day class where like you didn't really do anything. You really didn't have like any homework. I don't know. You just didn't do stuff. You know, you just kind of like talked, and it was a really easy class. And on Fridays, what you would do is you would go and help out the special ed classes. You know, like play games or I don't know, help them in some other way. So it was really cool to get some interaction and just get out of the monotony of a classroom learning environment. But what I remember from my senior year, and the guy who was teaching the class, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the junior varsity football coach. He was my younger brother's football coach. And he said something that to this day, obviously I believe it, but at the time, I didn't believe it. It took me a long time to realize this. But what he said was, all your high school friends are not going to be your lifelong friends. And I'll let that soak in for a second. So I'm going to repeat it. He said, your high school friends are not going to be your lifelong friends. I didn't believe him because I had a lot of high school friends. And I mean, I played baseball with some guys. I had friends from photography. I had friends from the yearbook and the newspaper, the journalism class, you know, and just regular friends, people that I knew just because I'd known them all my life. And I just didn't fathom that they would all be gone. And I mean, the people I grew up with these people. I mean, I'd known them all the way through elementary school, middle school, and into high school. And the funny thing is after we all graduated, this shit came true. Like suddenly, nobody was talking to anybody. I mean, this is before cell phones. I mean, so you like either you'd call them on their home phone, or you had to go to their house, or write them a letter. Like, write them a letter. What the hell is that all about? I mean, email was just getting big by the time I graduated high school. I mean, that's how old I am. But anyways, it got hard to stay in touch. And so what he did, he actually added on to that. The second part he said is that all of his closest friends were college friends, people he met in college. And so for me, I can't really relate with that last part because I had a stint in junior college right out of high school, and I failed miserably at that. And then I took a couple years off from college and then kind of worked, you know, and sort of didn't really, and then again, all my high school friends were gone at that point. I had a new set of friends. I had these racing friends. I had work friends because I was working full time. And so I had these two groups of friends, the racing friends and the work friends, and they sort of merged together for a point there. But then when I decided to go back to school, I moved out of the area. And when that happened, all my work friends disappeared because I was living 200 miles away, and all the racing friends I didn't really keep in touch with. Even when I came back home, I'd come back home and I would actually touch base with the work friends because I had seen them actually more than the racing friends. The racing friends I saw, like Friday nights, Saturday nights, and sometimes during the weeknights we would go out and race. And so I only saw them a couple of times, but the work friends I saw more often and hung out with more often. So I'd come home and visit, and I'd visit with my old work friends, and the racing friends were gone. So suddenly in my life, I had my high school friends were gone. The racing friends, it was kind of spotty. Maybe I saw them like 2 or 3 times. So maybe like once a year when I was living up in Santa Barbara going to school. And then my work friends I'd see actually whenever I'd come home, which was kind of regularly. But then it kind of tapered off after a while. Then I didn't really come home that often. And then when I finally moved back down, that's when things got really weird, like it's because then you're just like coming back home after being gone for 3 years, and all your friends are off doing other things. Like one of my buddies, he moved to New York, actually moved to Los Angeles for a while. We never saw him then. We saw him probably like twice or 3 times, and then he moved to New York, and I didn't see him for like two years, something like that. So when he came back, he came back to an environment where none of us were really hanging out anymore. So then I was at that situation where I was making newer friends like everywhere I go. And I finally, it was 4 or 5 years ago or something like that, I finally realized that this teacher from my high school, the psychology teacher, was right. None of my high school friends, I don't talk to any of them to this day. Not that I don't want to, like I had a high school reunion. So I met with a couple of people that I used to hang out with in high school. We just had lunch, shot the shit, talked about old times, discussed whether or not we were going to the reunion or not, and that's it. That was like the extent of it. And then we just sort of parted ways after that. And so now I find myself in a situation where maybe like you guys, I don't know. I mean, if you're younger than me, then you've got friends that you probably see more often. But since I'm old and decrepit and I've got a cane and stuff, I've got a lot of internet friends, which sounds really weird because I want to talk about how do you classify a friend in a minute. And some really deep, like really good friends, like solid friends, a handful. Like I don't have 100 friends. I only have a handful of true friends and a lot of acquaintances. And I think that's kind of what happens in life. I can't say for certain because there's probably people who have tons of friends. They got too many people to hang out with who are just as old as I am. But the way I see it is that history teacher, that psychology teacher was right, where the older you get, your friends sort of dwindle down. So you don't hang out with those people that you used to hang out with a lot in high school, it blew my mind because of the simple fact that, you see these people every day. You think you're going to hang out with them all the time, and that's just not the case. So now here comes the thing is where if you guys are younger than me and you guys are in this situation where you're in high school or maybe you're just out of high school and you still talk with your high school friends, you'll notice that they're going to start to fade away. It's just sort of what happens. Either you go somewhere or they go somewhere or something happens. And it's really weird. It took me a while to kind of get my head wrapped around it because I wanted to still, make the effort to go visit these people. And it never happened. And now today with the internet, gaming, YouTube, Twitter, Skype, all these ways to connect with people on this international level. And it's amazing. And it kind of comes to that point where like, what determines a true friend? Because really, when you think about it, friendships are just people that you interact with physically for the most part. And not like physically, you know what I mean. But anyways, you see them every day. You talk with them every day. And that's what determines a friend, especially if you get along with them. But now, if you're in a situation where you communicate with people online a lot, are those people true friends? Would you consider those people true friends? I would. I know if I'm talking with someone every day for several hours a day, and not only do we talk about gaming, we've got things that are in common. We probably talk about sports or politics or history or literature or whatever. Suddenly you're talking about things that regular friends talk about. So you get in this whole area like, are online friends real friends? I think so, and I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that online friends are real friends? And I'm kind of curious to know, do you guys, if you're in the same sort of situation I am, maybe you're like mid-20s or early 20s, or maybe you're in your teens still, have you noticed that the friends that you used to have, your high school friends, are no longer your high school friends, or just people that you used to know, to use that song lyric, you know, somebody that I used to know? That's kind of how I see friends. There's sort of like a revolving door, and not in a bad way, you know, but people come in your life and they'll leave your life sometimes, and they'll come back, and you never know what comes through that door. And I know that I'm constantly amazed by like how many people I actually meet on the internet, and they're not like dicks. They're actually really cool people. And that's probably the coolest thing about the internet for me, is that there are so many cool people out there, and I'm not bound to my city or my region or my country. I could have a friend, you know, like I've got friends, I would consider I've got friends in Ireland, I got friends in England, I got friends in Germany. I don't have any friends in Japan. I don't have, yeah. So anyways, that's about as far east as I as I go. I got friends, of course, in the United States, and I've got some friends, international friends, and it's amazing to me. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys later.